Split and join are the opposites. Split is used on strings and it creates a new array, and join is used on arrays and it creates a new string. Here, as the first example, I have a split. So I have a string of cars, of car models really. Civic, Corolla, Escort, and Camry. And each of this model is separated by a comma. Now, if I wanted to create an array containing Civic, Corolla, Escort, and Camry, those four strings, I can use split for that. Here's the output. I passed in comma because comma is what separates all of these models, and I got an array. Now, let's take a look at join. I used join on my new array, and I passed in space and space as the separator. So now each element of that array will be separated by space and space, and this is the exact output. Now, let's take a look how we can chain those together. You are probably not subscribed. And I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so I would really appreciate your support. Thank you. So here's what I did. I took my initial string of car models. I used split on it, thus creating an array. I filtered each element of that array to make sure that I will only have an array of car models that start with the letter C. And then I joined that array together in a string with space plus space being the new separator. And here's my result. And you will often see this kind of chaining because split returns us a new array, and because of that we can immediately call any other array method here. You can use filter, but also map, reduce, reverse, and eventually join if you really want to have a string as the end result. Now let's take a look at the implementations. So here's how I did it. I defined very creatively my function called mySplit, and the first argument is a string and the second one is a separator. So pretty straightforward so far. I define an array that I'll return in the end. And I have this array element variable here defined, and I'll show you why exactly in a moment. I have my loop here that iterates over every single letter in my string, one by one. So I take the first letter. In this case, this is going to be C. Is C equal to my separator? So a comma? No, it's not. So I add C to my array element, which is a string. So at the end of this iteration, array element is equal to C. Then the next letter is I. I go through the same process. Is I equal to comma? No, it's not. So I add I to my array element. So now array element is equal to Ci. And I do the same with V, I, C. So now let's say we have a comma as our letter. Array element is equal to civic, C-I-V-I-C. So now comma is equal to comma. So we go into this else, and what we do is we push this element, which is currently equal to civic, to our new to our new array, and we reset the array element variable to be a empty string again. And then we repeat the process. We have C again. Is C equal to comma? No. So we push C into the array element, which is a blank string again, because we reset it here. And then we go to O, R, O, L, L, A, and then we have a comma again. So we push Corolla to our new array, and then we reset the array element variable again. And we do this till the string ends, and our end result, the array of strings. So here's the join implementation. We're taking the array we created in the previous example, and we're gonna pass it into my join function. The first argument is an array, and the second one is the joiner. Now, we define a string, and string is what we will return. And this one is a bit easier to implement, but it has one caveat. So we iterate over our array. And all we do is we add to our string elements from that array. Now, you'll notice that I have this if here. And why do I need it? If I don't have it, something funky is going to happen. So here's what happened. We were happily adding the elements from our array to our new string and then adding the joiner. So it works for the first element. It's civic and. For the second, it also works. Corolla and. For escort, it also works. Escort and. But for Camry, it doesn't. We don't want this and here and at the end of our string. We don't want to. This is not how join works. So that's why we have to add this check here, because what it says is while we are at our last iteration, we should not add the joiner to our string. Why is it the last iteration? So even though our array has length 4, the index of the last element is 3. So that's why we have to do I plus 1, the index plus 1, to make sure that this is the last iteration. And if we add this if here, our string at the end will not have the and joiner. And that's join and split. Thank you for watching.